Welcome to the Lechteich Parsha podcast, where we delve into the Torah's timeless wisdom and uncover uplifting and empowering lessons tailored to the challenges of our generation. Agutin Erev Shabbos, Parshas Toldos, Tavshin Pevav. I hope you're doing well. I hope you had a wonderful week. This week's shir is sponsored by the Weinberg family in honor of the recent engagement of Leah Weinberg of Lakewood, New Jersey, to Eliel Sternbach, as well as on the upcoming chasana of Leah Goldstein of Brooklyn, New York, to Shlomo Teichman of Brooklyn, New York. Mazel tov on these tremendous, great simchas. We wish you both mazel, bracha, hatzlacha. You should be zeicha to build a bayis neman b'Yisrael. Thank you to our corporate sponsors, the Hassan Zal's Law Firm, T7 Capital, and Bluestone Brokerage. For future dedications to sponsor the Lechteich weekly Parsha publication and podcast, please reach out to 845-367-2959. We said last week that every week we'll try to focus on something that's not necessarily attached to a yontif or anything specific, but just more of the daily type of yesodis. The things to keep in mind. Last week we spoke about how there's a malach that's created every time we have even a good machshava before we actually do the maisa. Trader Joe's, that made a lot of buzz, Baruch Hashem. This week I'd like to focus on the inyan of Ben Adam L'Chaveroi, sensitivity towards others. I was just listening to a shir from Rabbi Chaim Waxman, and he said, Mori de Gezach. I don't know who he quoted from the B'nai Yisachar, but the story is like this. You take any letter in the Aleph Beis, take the letter Kuf, take the letter Aleph, take any name, and you break it down, what's always going to happen inevitably is you're always going to encounter the letter Yud. And every Yid, right? Every Yid has a shame. Yaakov, David, right? Any name you take, the letters that comprise the word, that structures, that builds the word, you're going to hit a Yud. And even if there's not, the word David doesn't have a Yud, but you take the word Dalid, Vav, Dalid, and you break it down. So the Dalid, Vav, Vav, you're going to have some Vav, Yud, Vav. So you're always going to encounter a Yud. Every letter, you're going to encounter a Yud somehow. If there's not an actual Yud, the beauty of a Yud is that no matter how many times you cut it down, no matter how many times you compress it, it's infinite. It's never ending because you keep on chopping, you break it down, you take a Yud and you cut it, and you take it and you keep on, it's mamish infinite. There's always going to be something left. That's the letter of a Yud. What's the cheshivas? Hashem, 2 Yuds. Every Yid has a tzelem elekim. Right? This is all obviously more Kabbalistic, but the site is unbelievable, and it's a strong reminder. We all have a tzelem elekim, achelek elekam imal in us, Yud Kei Vav Kei. We all have that Yud. And the site is that no matter how far, no matter how distant one seems, one feels, or how we view other people, the site is that within every single Yid, there's that Yud, there's that pintel Yid that we speak of, and you can never crush it. You can never ever take it out because as much as it's cut and it's cut and it's cut, you're always going to confront, you're always going to bump back into that Yud. And the Yud is Helig. The Yud is the Chelek Alakam Imal. It's Tzelem Elikim. And we can't fight that. We have to embrace that. We have to realize that every single Yid, no matter how far off, how off the derech, how many Averis, they all possess this Chelek Alakam Imal. Having said that, come to this week's Parsha, and we find something very, very interesting. We find there was a whole encounter, dialogue with the brachas, Yaakov and Eisav. Yaakov stole the brachas. Eisav was all upset, but Eisav really sold it. He said, "What do I need this for? I'll give me the bowl of soup." And Vayivis Eisav as a bechira, Eisav belittled the bechira, right? And he go on later in the parsha. And what happened was Yaakov Taka got the brachas. He stole them, right? Rivka strategized, came up with a plan how Yaakov is going to succeed in getting the brachas, and he was successful. Right? There was a whole confusion back and forth. Call Yaakov Yadayim de Eisav. Yitzchak was all confused, but at the end, what happened? Yaakov received the brachas. Right? Then what happened? Yitzchak comes back into the room. Yitzchak sees him, and Eisav says, "Where's my bracha?" And Yitzchak says, "I'm sorry, I have bad news for you. Akveni ze pamayim." Yaakov, he was ma'akiv you. He was in your way. He overcame you twice. Right? And what happened, says the pasuk, Vayitzak tza'aka gedola umara. That Yitzchak, that Eisav let out this za'aka, this scream, this cry that was bitter, and it was great and it was bitter. What's the taich over here? He cried out an exceedingly great and bitter cry and said to his father, "Bless me too, Father." That's what happened. Okay, that's the story. He wanted the bracha, he found that he couldn't have it, and he let out this tremendous bitter cry. Eisav Arasha. So there's a lot of Torah, there's a lot of question. What was he so sad about? What did he cry about? Everything was done, Kidasu Kedin. He knew about it, he sold it. Everything was, he should have anticipated this, he should have expected this, right? And there's an astounding medrash, a short but astounding Tanchuma. Says the medrash that what happened when Yitzchak belted out, when Eisav belted out this Ta'aka Gedola, what happened? Says the medrash, Za'aka Achas Hizik Yaakov Avinu LeEisav, Emasai Nifralai B'Shushan Habira. There was this bitter, resentful, angry cry that Eisav let out, and there had to be some type of punishment, some type of repercussion for Yitzchak and Yaakov, and it all manifests in Shushan Habira, in the time of Purim. Klal Yisrael, there was a gzeir of Lahar, Lahashmid, La'abadis, Kol Yehudim, and says the Medrash that was all because of this encounter. Now, trying to understand exactly what this is, we're not going to get into that, why there was any achrayas or any responsibility. If Eisav Taka sold the Bechira, we have to understand that. There's a different shmuz. But says the Medrash that Shushan Habira, the whole wipeout, the extermination of the Yidden, Rahman al that Haman and Achashverosh wanted to do, they wanted to annihilate all the Yidden, that was all because of this. All because of this Za'aka, the Eisav, the grandfather, Edom, that he cried out. Because of that, Klal Yisrael was held responsible and they were going to be wiped out. It didn't end up happening, but that was the Gezerah. Asks the Mefarshim, I saw put down by Rav Meir Chadash, the Rosh Yeshiva of Chevron, Baron Chadash's father from the Mir, as well as Reb Reuven Grozovsky. They asked the question that this seems to be very out of proportion, the ends don't justify the means. Like we've been saying, Yaakov didn't do anything wrong. Yitzchak didn't do anything wrong. Yaakov bought the Bechira. So Eisav, he had an overreaction. That should cause such harm. It should cause that the entire Jewish nation, the entire Jewish people should be exterminated forever, wiped off the face of the map because of something that was done lawfully, something that was done with Esav's knowledge. So he cried, he overreacted. How does it stem? That the whole Shushan Habira, the whole story of Purim, the whole Megillas Esther and all the Nisim and our stars Panim and Hashem was with us even in the mask and even in the pain. Scratch it. What do we need it for? All because of Eisav? Could this? We understand? You hear the kasha? Good to kasha. So the soid is. It's Pasha. It's staring at us right in the face. The answer is, from here we see the sensitivity. From here we see the chiyuv of being mechabed another, not just Yid, Eisav, even a Rasha, even a Goy. And just to preface it for 1 second, we're learning in the Lechteich Musar Shir, we're learning the Pel Yoetz. The Pel Yoetz says that when a person dies, even if he reaches Seva Tova, he's an old man, you still cry for him. Even if he lived to 120 and he did mitzvahs and he chapped around so much and he was mamish the paragon of what an Eved Hashem is, you still cry and you have to weep for him for 3 days. Why? Because we're not sure that maybe there was something that he didn't accomplish in his life, and for that, who's going to substitute him now? Now his time he's expired, and Hashem is missing nachas ruach from this person that he's missing the deliverables. And says the Pel Yoetz, even when a guy dies, the Shekhinah is also crying. Even when the guy cries, even when a guy dies, the Shekhinah is in pain. It's mourning also, even over a guy. So bring that over here. Says the Mefarshim, says Meir Chadash and Reuven Grozovsky. Yaakov Avinu, yes. It was done Kidasu Gedin. It was done with a Heksher temple. And Rivka told him to do it, and he had mitzvah kibbutz and he had to do it all. But they explain that there was a sensitivity that he lacked, that Yaakov Avinu lacked, that he didn't go and he wasn't mephayis, he didn't appease his brother, he didn't make sure he was okay, he kind of just booked. He made sure that all of his needs were okay, that all of his needs were met, and then he left. And because of that lack of sensitivity, he could have done a little bit more. There was a pigam, there was something lacking in his ahavas chinam, in his love, even for Eisav HaRasha, when he did really nothing wrong, and he could say, yeah, Eisav overreacted, but there's something extra, there's something more he could have done, and because of that, we see how strong the tefillah was, that there was such a responsibility, an obligation that he had towards Eisav, that he should have came through, that he should have shown him, and because he didn't do that, the repercussions were so severe. And says Reuven Gruzovsky, the Rashiva of Torah and Kamenetz, he says, Mida toive meruba, you always look at the good side. Imagine how much more, every time we're mechazek yid, with a good word, with a smile, with a divrei chizik, when we see someone and we embrace them, we learn from here how strong, if it's possible on the one hand, the Yaakov Avinu, that this whole episode, it could have caused that the Jews should be annihilated by Shushan Bira, because of an insensitivity towards Eisav. Kol shekin kavachim, every time we see someone going through a tough time, we text someone, we email someone, we call someone, we say, how are you doing? We are a Klal Yisrael person, we are thinking about Yanum, we really care for other people. Just imagine how much nachas ruach, how much goodness, how much kedusha to this world and sanctity we're bringing in and to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Here the var, valid, not shaykh. The midah of derech eretz, of bin adam chaverei, of sensitivity towards others. Just to wrap up with an incredible ma'aseh just heard, Rabbi Ari Levine, Rabbi Eliash's father-in-law, he was a big tzaddik in Yerushalayim, and he was known to be busy with people in jail. He would go down and he would take care of them and bring them food and their needs. And one time he went down to the jail and there was a guard, and he said, "Get out of here! What are you doing? Leave!" And he said, "I'm sorry. I'm here to visit the inmates. These are fellow Yidden, these are fellow brethren, and I want to take care of them." So the guard said, "If you're not out of here in the next 2 minutes, you're going to be incarcerated as well." So he said, no option. What am I going to do? I'm going to start fighting with them? If my life is at risk, if I'm going to get incarcerated, I have nothing to do. So by Levine, he walked away. And on the one hand, he wasn't interested in getting locked up. But on the other hand, he had to help these Yidden. So he decided when the guards, when they got busy with something else, but Ari decided he's going to go and he's going to break into the jail, into the cell, and he's going to figure out a way to get in there. So they got busy. Rabbi Ari goes around, digs some type of hole, figures out how to get in, and he's with the inmates. And all of a sudden there's a knock on the door and he knows his life is over. This is it, he's done. And he's all scared and his heart's pounding, and the inmates are like, no, be careful, it's a rabbi. And the two guards the guard that he encountered before said, "Okay, Rabbi, you're done." And he took Rabbi Aryeh to the chief guard, and he said, "This rabbi, he rebelled against us. I told him not to." And the chief said, "Let me handle this." And the chief said, "Rabbi, you can stay. Everything, you can come. You're welcome to come as much as you want, whenever you want. Full access, free reign." And the first guard was so confused. He said, "I don't understand. This is my job. I'm supposed to tell them they can't come in." And he broke in. He went against the rules, and I told him he's going to be incarcerated. Now you're telling me that everything is good? And he said, originally when he came, I didn't know what his intention was. I didn't know what he wanted to do. He wanted to smuggle something in, espionage. I had no idea. He said, but now that his ahavas chinam is brimming, is unparalleled, that he broke into the jail, he went against just to take care of another yid. He said, how can I get in the way of such ahavas chinam? He saw the love for another yid, mamish exuding, almost tangible, coming out of a barrier. And he said, if this is the case, if you taka want to help Yidden in such a way, on such a high level, he said, how can I stop you? You're welcome to come anytime. And the side is that, as we see from here, you see how bad we could have wiped out we could have been wiped out of Shushan Abir because of the ta'aka that Eisav cried out over something that wasn't even wrong, over a guy. But by Mida Beruba, on the Tzad HaToiv, when we are mechazik another yid, when we go out of our way to help another yid, when we're a Klal Yisrael yid. I met someone today, he said, you'll never ever lose out when you're a Klal Yisrael yid, when you're helping other people. I said, I was so fascinated, you're giving me 2 hours of your time to schmooze. I didn't even know him. And he said, you never ever lose out. And that's how he's a very successful person. He's in Kli Kodesh, but he's all around. You could just see his tzura, his demeanor, his demus. He's a person that cares. He's Iber Gegeben. He cares about people. He cares about their needs. And he said, you never ever lose out. And that's what we learn from this parsha. And Hashem gives us the koyach that even when we don't feel it, when we're not up to it, whether it's a mashulch, someone at the door, someone that needs, and we just need to keep on going and move on. We say, wait 1 second. There's an opportunity that lies. I can do something great. I can build the world. I can save the world. If the world was going to get destroyed because of sinuskina, because of an insensitivity, who knows what we can do with an extra sensitivity, with going out of our way, with a good smile, a good gesture, a good word, looking out for Hashem's children, looking out ultimately, and Hashem will take care of us in turn. Be'ezer Hashem. Shkoyach. I thank each and every one of you for listening. I hope you enjoyed, and I wish you a wonderful Shabbos.